The elevator doors open and do not close. A girl steps in alone. She looks down the hallway as if someone were there. She takes a step. She hides in a corner. She comes back out. She gestures with her hands, as if she were talking to something the camera cannot see. There is no one there. No shadow. No reflection. No second person. Only a rectangle of cold light and an absence that feels like a threat. Then the question drops like a stone. If no one is there, what is she running from? You are witnessing the birth of a monster, a case that, on paper, ends with an official ruling, accident, but that the internet turned into a global conspiracy. Today, we will separate myth from evidence. Why 2 or 3 minutes of footage were enough for millions of people to swear they had seen a crime. This case has a perfect paradox, a disappearance that ends with an official conclusion, accident. But that became a global obsession because of an ambiguous video. And the human brain hates ambiguity. Because when pieces are missing, we do not say, "I don't know." We invent them. And here, the missing pieces were enormous. Elisa Lam was found dead. Not in a room, not in an alley, but inside a water tank on the hotel roof. A tank that to reach it, you do not simply get lost in a hallway. It required going up, accessing restricted areas, stairs, roof, a ladder, a hatch. And that is where the impossible is born. The thing that fed everything. How does a guest end up there? Because if the answer had been easy, this case would have lasted 24 hours. But it wasn't. Here, the answer was difficult. And when something is difficult, people confuse it with impossible. But difficult is not the same as impossible. To understand why this video became a cult phenomenon, you first have to understand the world in which it happened. A huge hotel in an area filled with constant noise. People coming in, going out, stories, chaos. A place where any oddity feels like a threat because the context is already loaded. And a name that pushes the story downhill. The Cecil. A place with a reputation, with a dark history, with a pre-existing narrative whispering in your ear before you even watch the video. And when a place has a reputation, you no longer watch what is happening. You watch what you expect to happen. Elisa travels alone through California. Her plan was to continue on to Santa Cruz. She was getting around by public transportation. So far, nothing unusual. But there is a sensitive piece here that, in this case, is not decoration. It appears in forensic documents, a history of depression and bipolar disorder. And this matters not because of morbid curiosity, but because it explains something essential. There are mental states that can make behavior appear strange without there being a villain. And even so, what we see in the elevator is so strange that instinct screams danger. The timeline is the backbone of this case. If you follow it, you will notice how the mystery does not grow because of new evidence, but because of interpretation. January 26th, 2013. Elisa arrives in Los Angeles. January 31st. The last clear piece of evidence. The hotel footage. The elevator. That fragment that goes viral. February 4th. A formal missing person report already exists. We arrive at the decision that changes everything. February 13th. The police release the video. And the instant that video is released to the world, the case stops being an investigation. It becomes a game. The public enters and never leaves because the video is the perfect trap. It has no sound. It has no context. It does not show the full hallway. It does not show what is outside the frame. It gives you enough to imagine, but not enough to verify. Elisa goes in. Elisa comes out. Elisa looks. Elisa hides. Elisa peeks out. Elisa gestures. The doors stay open for too long, and the brain clicks. Someone is waiting for her outside. Someone is chasing her. someone is controlling the elevator. And suddenly, a clip only minutes long becomes definitive proof of 1,000 different things. Because everyone uses it to confirm their own story. February 19th, 2013. A maintenance worker goes up to the roof because of complaints. Problems with the water, with the pressure, with the taste. He checks the tanks and finds the body inside a water tank. One of those places no one imagines, until you imagine it, and then you cannot stop. The shock is so great that the elevator video suddenly no longer seems strange. It feels like a prologue, and now the mystery has a physical shape, an impossible place, a concrete question. How did she get in there? The internet loses its mind, because if the ending is a tank on the roof, then the normal explanation stops feeling satisfying, and in its place appears the buffet of theories. Someone put her there, something supernatural, conspiracy, and each one feeds off a real fact. The body was there. But pay attention, a real fact does not validate a whole story. It validates only one thing. The body was there. The rest has to be proven. The forensic report concludes drowning, accidental death, no trauma, no evidence of violent crime. The police investigation shows no signs of criminal involvement. Toxicology does not detect the typical illicit drugs. That does not answer every question. But it does destroy many false certainties. Because if there had been a physical assault, the body usually speaks. But here, the body does not tell the story of a fight. But the internet insists, a repeated pattern. Every time an answer appears, a bigger question opens. Official ruling, accident, a wadi. But then, how did she get to the tank? No trauma, no signs of violence. But then, why does the video look like a pursuit? No typical illicit drugs. But then, why is she acting like that? And in that exact gap, the internet reaches in and fills it with whatever is most gripping, the darkest thing, the most cinematic thing, the most shareable thing, the elevator. Many people became obsessed with one idea. The door does not close because someone is controlling the system. But there are technical explanations that have been discussed, such as elevator functions that keep doors open. And even if that does not prove exactly what happened, it does teach you something brutal. A technical detail can become a demon if you do not know it exists. And that is the perfect fuel for a viral mystery. Because a mystery does not need something to be impossible. It only needs you not to know how it works. The roof. The big question is, how did she get there? Because the roof sounds like an impossible zone. But documents and testimony describe routes, stairs, alarms, access points, a ladder, and a hatch for the tank. Difficult, but not necessarily impossible. In that nuance is where conspiracies die. Because if a route exists, even if it is complicated, the mystery stops being magical and becomes physical. And the physical is always less sexy than the supernatural. That is why people resist it. The water. After the discovery, something happens that the internet turned into proof of a cover-up. An order is issued not to drink the water. Tests are conducted, the system is cleaned, and then the order is lifted. In a normal story, this is a public health procedure. In a viral story, this is the scene where the government covers everything up, because morbid fascination needs the whole world to be complicit. And if it is not, it invents it. We arrive at the most absurd myth, and for that very reason, the most widely shared. The supposed LAM-ELISA conspiracy, as if the name were a hidden signal related to tuberculosis. But here, reality is devastating in its simplicity. LAM and ELISA are technical terms that had been used long before. A nominal coincidence, not a secret code. But people prefer the secret code because it turns a tragedy into a puzzle. A puzzle fills you with dopamine. Tragedy only fills you with silence. The most disturbing part of this case is not the elevator, is not the tank, is not the roof. The real monster appears when the internet decides it needs a culprit, even when the evidence offers none. And the internet finds one, or rather, it manufactures one. A musician, Pablo Vergara. Known as Morbid, he was falsely accused and harassed by online detectives. People who, without being investigators, turn themselves into jury, prosecutor, and executioner. People who are not looking for the truth. They want to close the case with an exciting story. And if the truth does not cooperate, they bulldoze right over it. This is the point where the Elisa Lam case stops being only a mystery and becomes a mirror. There is an ambiguous video. There is a physically strange ending. There's a void in the public information. And there is a global community with time, tools, and a hunger for drama. The result is not clarity, it is noise. And noise, repeated enough times, becomes truth for millions. So, what do we know, stripped of decoration? We know that the last clear evidence was documented on the building's closed-circuit recording system, in the elevator. We know that the body was found in a rooftop tank during an inspection triggered by guest complaints about water quality. We know that the autopsy concludes drowning and accidental death, no trauma. We know there is no evidence of violent crime and that police found no evidence of assault. And we know that her mental health history appears as a significant condition in the record. That is the solid ground. That is what can bear the weight of a courtroom. Everything else is a human attempt to fill a void. But this is where we reach the question that keeps this case alive, even after the official ruling. How did she get to the tank? There are elements suggesting that she could have accessed it by existing routes. There are testimonies and descriptions regarding the tank hatch, about the water level, about access. But the public does not have a definitive video of that route. It does not have every hotel camera. It does not have every minute. And for every missing minute, a universe is born. Because there is a kind of mystery the internet loves. The kind of mystery you can solve from your house. And this case seems designed for that. That is why, even when the report came out in June 2013, consolidating the official conclusion, many people did not accept it, because accepting the accident means accepting the most unbearable thing. That sometimes there is no villain. That sometimes life has no script. That sometimes what looks like a pursuit is an episode, a disturbance, a moment of confusion. And that ending does not share well. It does not monetize well. It does not become myth. The epilogue of this story finishes sealing the clash between reality and narrative as the family sues the hotel. Years later, a judge dismisses the lawsuit under a central idea: foreseeability. Because in order to assign responsibility, you have to prove that the risk was foreseeable. And here, the fact that someone ends up in a tank inside a restricted area is treated as something that could not reasonably have been anticipated. The case closes legally, but remains open culturally. Because culture does not need proof, it needs stories. The elevator, the open door, the moving hands, the corner, the absence. Ask yourself honestly, what you are seeing, is it evidence? Or is it your mind completing the missing frame? Because that is the real heart of this story. When a piece is missing, the mind completes the puzzle with the most exciting narrative. And that is why this case is not only about Elisa Lam, it is about us, about our need for meaning, about our need for a culprit, about our need for the world to work like a movie. The truth is, there is an official ending, but there is also an incomplete truth. The exact moment, the exact route, the exact why. And as long as that crack exists, the myth will keep running, like water through a badly sealed hatch. Or, what do you think? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, support the channel by subscribing. That way, we can keep bringing you new mysteries. And tell me, Is there a specific story you'd like us to tell for you? Sending you a hug.